Good evening. I'm Nima and this is Forum Daily for Tuesday, August 9th. And tonight, the investigation continues into the RCMP's use of cell phone spyware technology. The Commons Privacy and Ethics Committee heard today from the head of the University of Toronto's Citizen Lab. This comes as the panel continues to look into the RCMP's use of spyware in 32 investigations in the last 5 years. Ron Dybert says spyware is like a wiretap on steroids and that it requires more oversight and a much higher threshold for use than traditional wiretaps. Yesterday, senior officers testified that the Mounties don't use the controversial Pegasus spyware, but they refuse to disclose details about the technology it is using. Meanwhile, the chief of the defense staff is going to make changes to the Canadian Armed Forces COVID-19 vaccine requirement. General Wayne Ayres says finding the right approach is complicated as officials consider the legal, medical, operational, and ethical aspects of a revised mandate. He says mandates are necessary to ensure the military is ready to respond to any emergency. Hundreds of service members are still not vaccinated despite orders issued late last year. Turning to Ontario now, where the provincial government has laid out its agenda for the upcoming season in its throne speech. The Ontario government says it is actively engaging with healthcare partners to come up with ideas to tackle pressures on the system. Stakeholders and advocates say this is due to a nurse staffing crisis. But today's throne speech didn't offer up any new solutions, even though hospital emergency departments continue to close for hours or days at a time. The speech largely touted key parts of Premier Doug Ford's agenda. This includes building highways, attracting investment in electric vehicle manufacturing, and addressing a labor shortage through a skilled trades plan. On the East Coast, a central Newfoundland highway shut down by out-of-control forest fires nearly a week ago is open again. The Newfoundland and Labrador Department of Forestry is asking anyone traveling the Bay d'Espoir Highway to drive slowly and avoid stopping. The development is good news for people living in communities that have been cut off by the road closure and are running low or already out of some groceries and other supplies. All right, well, on the other side of the country, firefighters in BC continue to battle a blaze that has grown to over 6,800 hectares in size. Light winds have helped firefighters make good progress in building containment lines around the Karamias Creek wildfire. But BC Wildfire Service Information Officer Brian Zandberg warns of potential spread. He says the winds still have the potential to push flames south toward the villages of Karamias and Olala. More than 500 homes in the area have been ordered evacuated since the fire was reported on July 29th. Moving to Regina now, where a woman has been charged with abducting her 2-year-old son following an Amber Alert that ended on Sunday with the mother and boy being found safe. The 36-year-old woman is also charged with kidnapping and failing to comply with a release order. Officers responded to a call early Sunday about the missing child and issued an Amber Alert later in the afternoon. The pair were found unharmed about 2 hours later at a home in the city's northeast where the woman was arrested. Toronto lawyer Andrea Skinner has been appointed interim chair of Hockey Canada's board of directors. This follows Michael Brindamore's resignation on Friday. Hockey Canada says its 13 provincial, regional, and territorial associations recommended Ms. Skinner step in. This until the current board's term ends in November. The sport's governing body is under the microscope for its handling of sexual assault allegations against members of past junior men's hockey teams. Condolences from Canadian politicians, past and present, have been pouring in as they learned about the death of Bill Graham. He served as Foreign Affairs Minister when the country decided against joining the U.S. invasion of Iraq in 2003. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said Mr. Graham will be remembered as a master negotiator and skilled statesman who shared his love for Canada with the world. He was first elected in 1993 as Liberal MP for the riding then known as Toronto Centre Rosedale. Mr. Graham was known as a staunch defender of international law. He died Sunday of cancer at the age of 83. The latest inductees into Canada's Walk of Fame include the tragically hip, the late broadcaster Barbara Frum, and music video visionary Director X. The tragically hip are being honored for their philanthropy and activism for social and environmental causes. The inductees will be celebrated at an in-person gala at Toronto's Beanfield Centre in early December. After the break, we're going to take a look at the issue of global hunger and what one organization is doing about it. We'll speak with Seema Sanghavi, the founder of Cooks Who Feed, and we'll discuss what her organization is doing to address hunger and food waste. Stay with us. The war in Ukraine and its resulting impact on food availability in underdeveloped countries has shined a light on global food insecurity. However, hunger has plagued many countries long before the war even began. According to the World Food Programme's Hunger Hotspots report, over 43 million people in 38 countries are at risk of famine or a serious food crisis. This, if they do not receive the life-saving support they need. And today, we speak with one Canadian organization that's looking to make a dent in the issue through the sale of aprons. Cooks Who Feed has a mission to empower food lovers to take action towards a hunger-free world. Every sale of one of their handcrafted canvas aprons provides 100 meals to hungry people in the U.S., Canada, and India. And with us now to tell us more about the company and its goals to fight world hunger is Ms. Seema Sanghavi, the founder of Cooks Who Feed. Ms. Sanghavi, welcome to Forum Daily.
Thanks for having me.
So a very interesting concept you have here. Can you tell us a little bit more about how all of this works?
For sure. So we ethically produce kitchen textiles. We launched with our aprons, and they're definitely our flagship product. And every time we sell a product, we share the proceeds with our charity partners. So you mentioned we have a partner in Canada, one in the US, and one in Asia. Our Canadian partner is Second Harvest. So all these charities recover surplus food with the goal of reducing food waste and provide meals to those in need.
And as you said, you started off with aprons. So where did the idea to sell aprons in order to fight world hunger come from?
So I actually got the idea from the ladies who now make our textiles. So I was lucky enough it was in 2016, I was in India for a friend's wedding and heard about this wonderful NGO that was training marginalized women to become seamstresses. And I wanted to see what that was all about. So I went there and met these ladies who are being trained and, provided with this wonderful opportunity. And while I was there, realized I'm like, I should, do something, and maybe these ladies could make the products. And I'm a foodie, so I wanted to make something for foodies. So the apron just kind of stuck out.
All right. Well, tell us a little bit more about your charity partners. You mentioned they're in Canada, the U.S., and India. How do they deliver on your one apron equals 100 meals motto?
Yeah, so all my charity partners know, how much it costs to provide for them to provide one meal. So, for example, if we look at Second Harvest, they recover most of their food from, farmers, grocery stores. In the U.S., our charity partner recovers more at a neighborhood level, so cafes, restaurants, because the laws are a bit different in the U.S. And then in India, our charity partner actually gets most of their surplus food from catered events like weddings and big events where there's lots of catered food, and unfortunately a lot of that goes to waste. So because each of these charity partners know how much it costs for them to provide that one meal, that's how we know every apron provides 100. So every charity partner gets a fixed amount every time we sell one of our products.
And how many meals has Cooks Who Feed been able to give so far to those in need?
So to date, we've provided over 500,000 meals.
Wow, that's an impressive number. So in terms of the aprons you sell, tell us a little bit more about how they're made and the people that are making them.
Yeah, so most of our aprons are actually chef inspired. So we work with a number of well-known chefs who have designed our apron. So for example, in Canada, we work with Chef Christine Cushing, who's a well-known celebrity chef who's been on the Food Network with many of her shows. So the chefs designed their apron to represent their brand, their personality, and we name it after them. From there, we have all the production in India. So we currently employ 72 women full-time. The goal is to get them out of poverty. They're provided with safe, fair trade work. They make every single product that we sell. And every product also comes with a little hand tag that explains the impact. So for example, with the aprons, it'll say, you're providing 100 meals, you're reducing food waste, and helping to provide safe, fair work to these women. And then the lady who made your product would sign the bottom of the hand tag, so you know who made it.
Sounds like an amazing program, Ms. Sanghavi. It's not only addressing hunger, it's addressing food waste, it's also addressing helping women find jobs in underdeveloped countries. So you actually did some research on food waste and how that's impacting the world. So tell us a little bit more about your research into this and how you hope your charity will address food waste in particular. I know I've got just about 30 seconds left here, but if you could give us a quick answer, what would it be?
Yeah, so the main idea for everyone, I think everyone should know, is that the amount of food that we waste could feed all the world's hungry 4 times over. And that was actually the headline that I came across that kind of gave me that aha moment that we should work with charities that are recovering surplus food, because there's no lack of food that we're producing. It's just making sure that it doesn't end up in a landfill, but it goes to the people who really need it.
Sounds like an amazing organization. And for our viewers, check out Cooks Who Feed online. Again, Ms. Sanghavi, thank you for your time today.
Thanks for having me.
Stay with us. When we come back from the break, we'll be taking a look at forest fires, heat waves, and other extreme weather being experienced across Canada and the world. Stay with us. It's been a scorching hot summer for most of Canada, with heat warnings recorded across the country. Yesterday, Environment Canada extended heat warnings covering broad regions of southern Ontario, Nova Scotia, Alberta, and BC. As temperatures hit record highs, the question remains whether this will be our new normal amid climate change, or will it just get worse from here? And are we ready to handle the continued effects of climate change? Well, joining us now to discuss this is Dr. Rachel White, atmospheric scientist and assistant professor at the Department of Earth, Ocean, and Atmospheric Sciences at UBC. Dr. White, welcome to Forum Daily.
Thank you.
Now, this is very concerning, Dr. White. Heat waves were found to be the deadliest form of extreme weather in Canada, according to a federal disaster database. Why is Canada seeing such deadly temperatures right now?
So part of this is, as you were saying, is climate change increasing global temperatures. And so as global temperatures increase, we expect to see hotter average temperatures. But as we're seeing, we also see hotter extreme temperatures. And so this means we see both more heat waves, and when we do get heat waves, we're often seeing extreme temperatures. And so we're breaking record temperatures, and we're seeing hotter and hotter extremes as well.
And unfortunately, Canada is not alone. We're seeing record temperatures recorded across the world, as well as climate disasters. So is this the new norm for us, Dr. White?
So all the reports sort of say that we expect to see more of these extremes as global temperatures warm. And so certainly this is something that's been predicted. It was something that was expected, and it's something that we're now seeing and observing across the globe. What I will say is sort of in terms of the new normal, when we're looking at climate, we're really looking at periods that are over a long period of time. And so those people sort of thinking back in sort of 2010, 2015, there was a lot of talk about sort of a global warming hiatus. Maybe there was a pause, global temperatures hadn't warmed that much. And recently we've been seeing the global temperatures are increasing a lot. But that doesn't mean that sort of, in the next 10 years, maybe they will increase more slowly. What we're never seeing really is a decrease in temperatures. And so we can't really say, the next 10 years, this is exactly what we'll see every year. But we do know it is going to continue to get worse as we continue to put more and more greenhouse gases into the atmosphere.
So if nothing were to be done to address this, how long does Canada have until we're likely to experience the worst of these weather conditions and extreme temperatures?
Well, as British Columbia experienced last year with that unprecedented record-breaking heat wave where the Canadian daily record temperature was broken by nearly 5 degrees Celsius, it's a combination of bad luck and climate change. And so as we continue to warm the climate, the faster we warm it, the more extremes we'll see, and the quicker these extremes will get worse and worse. And so it really is a matter of urgency now to really do as much as we can, as quickly as we can, to address this problem, because we already know it's going to get worse from here. The fact is that the greenhouse gases we've already put into the atmosphere still have some sort of warming potential. And so even if we completely stopped all emissions today, which is impossible, we would continue to see more warming into the future because of what we've already done. And so the more we do, the worse it's going to be.
And just for some further perspective, what would a worst case scenario in terms of climate change look like in Canada?
I mean, the problem is that there isn't necessarily a limit on how bad this could get. It really does depend on human action. And so the goal that we currently have of limiting global warming to 1.5 Celsius, that's still a sort of another 0.4 Celsius above where we are today. And that's an incredibly optimistic target that we've possibly already missed with, as I was saying, the greenhouse gases that we've already put into the atmosphere. And so thinking about much worse scenarios where we're looking at 2 degrees global warming, and often we look at sort of a worst case business as usual scenario of 4 degrees Celsius of global warming. And so thinking about all of our summer temperatures, including the extremes being 4 Celsius warmer, would impact a lot of people drastically.
Some very concerning information there, Doctor. Just about 45 seconds left here, so let's end with this. Where can our viewers go to learn more about the effects of climate change and extreme weather in Canada and what they can do to make a difference?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And in terms of what we can do, there's sort of 3 things that I think are really important. And there's studies showing that the most important thing really is policies and policies coming in place. So letting your politicians know, whoever it is that's your politician, letting them know that this is something that's important to you, that you care about the future of global warming, the future of our climate and these weather extremes. But also, I think it's important to talk to other people. We need to be talking about this as a problem that it is solvable if we take action, but working within our communities, talking to people, asking what they do to reduce their carbon footprint and the amount of greenhouse gases associated with their actions.
The FBI's search of Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate is a dramatic escalation of a months-long investigation. It is looking into how classified documents ended up in 15 boxes located there earlier this year. Mr. Trump says agents opened up a safe at his home during what he called an unannounced raid. His statement said these are dark times for America, claiming his beautiful home was under siege. The U.S. Justice Department has been investigating the potential mishandling of classified information. This comes after the National Archives and Records Administration said it had retrieved boxes of records containing classified information earlier this year. Turning to tensions between China and Taiwan. Taiwan's foreign minister says China aims to control the East and South China Seas through the Taiwan Strait. Joseph Wu spoke today as Taiwan began live-fire military drills in response to ongoing Chinese exercises. China says its drills are prompted by U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's visit to the self-governed island. In Ukraine, guerrilla forces loyal to Kyiv are killing pro-Moscow officials. This in a growing challenge to Russia's grip on areas it occupies in southeastern Ukraine. They are blowing up bridges and trains and identifying key targets for the Ukrainian military. The spreading resistance has eroded the Kremlin's control of those areas, and it threatens the Kremlin's plans to hold referendums as a move toward annexation by Russia. One coordinator of the guerrilla movement in Kherson told the Associated Press that its goal is to make life unbearable for the Russian occupiers. Meanwhile, a Russian rocket has successfully launched an Iranian satellite into orbit. The Soyuz rocket lifted off as scheduled from a Russia-leased launch facility in Kazakhstan, and minutes later, it placed the remote sensing satellite called Kayam into orbit. Iran has said the satellite will remain fully under its control, and no other country will have access to information it gathers. But there have been allegations that Russia may use it for surveillance of Ukraine amid its military action there. Tragedy in South Korea's capital region, where at least 8 people are dead, including some who drowned in their own homes after some of the heaviest rain in decades. The streets of Seoul turned into car-clogged rivers, and floodwaters cascaded into subway stations. 6 people are still missing, and there's more rain in the forecast. More than 45 centimeters of rain fell in less than 24 hours, at one point falling at a rate of 14 centimeters per hour. Turning to Kenya now, which is seeing lower voter turnout in an unusual presidential election, as some voters cite little hope of change. A longtime opposition leader who is backed by the outgoing president faces the deputy president who styles himself as the outsider. The Electoral Commission says turnout was 56% an hour before polls closed. Turnout in the previous election was 80%. Results must be announced within a week. Well, looks like tennis star Serena Williams implies that she is ready to put down her racket. She indicates plans to step away from tennis after winning 23 Grand Slam titles. And she wants to turn her focus to having another child and her business interests. In an essay released this morning by Vogue magazine, she writes that she is turning 41 this month and something's got to give. Ms. Williams hints in the essay that the U.S. Open will be her last tournament, but does not say so explicitly. Italy's most decorated Second World War resistance fighter has died at the age of 103. Mario Fiorentini commanded a group of partisans who fought the regime of dictator Benito Mussolini and then Italy's German Nazi occupiers. He became legendary for escaping from Nazi-run jails 4 times and was ultimately awarded 3 Silver Valor Medals and 3 War Merit Crosses. After the war, Mr. Fiorentini pursued a mathematics degree and later taught at universities in Italy, Canada, and the U.S. One of the best and most anticipated meteor showers of the year is the Perseids. It takes place from mid-July to the end of August, and its peak viewing is fast approaching. According to the International Meteor Organization, stargazers are likely to see the most meteors on the night of August 12th to 13th. This is when Earth will move through a trail of debris left over from the comet known as Swift Tuttle. All right, I'm Nima Rajan, and that'll do it for your look at national and international news for today. Remember, for more news on demand, you could always visit our website, thenewsforum.ca, and make sure to follow us on our social media handles on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also watch all of our commentary, programming, and interviews on the News Forum YouTube channel. All right, thanks for joining us today on Forum Daily, and we'll see you next time. Take care, Canada.